What is up, Crypto Nation, Crypto World? It is Crypto Diesel back on the mic after what must be a either 6 or 8 month hiatus. It has been a while. I'm super excited to be back. I basically acknowledge that my absence has been during the bear market that has just been plaguing everybody in the crypto space. It's kind of funny. I was talking to my buddy before filming witty banter, and he had no idea that it's a ridiculously horrible bear market right now. But yeah, I definitely know it, and I know that everybody who knows anything about crypto knows it, and I do not try to shy away from the fact that while it has been going on, I have definitely lost a little bit of interest, at least in following some of the more minute sort of projects that are out there. I was really getting excited about some of the more fringe projects before the drop and sell-off of the entire market, but as we kind of got the correction that I actually did predict in December 2017, I thought we were going to correct, but as we started working back our way down to a more feasible and understandable market valuation for all the different cryptos, I guess I just started losing a little bit of interest in some of those more minute projects. Now, that being said, I can proudly say that I haven't sold anything, right? I'm HODLing strong, so at least I've got that. And I don't know how I would prove it to anyone listening or anything, but it's something that I still am very firmly a believer in. It's something that I still am very firmly, I'm following all the news that's coming out, and I'm very excited to be back and talking about it. Not a whole lot else going on with me since then. I basically have just been kind of working my job, and I've been on a couple of trips with my lady friend and my buddies, and so just happy to be back. So I guess the first thing that I would talk about is just the fact that everybody knows that we're in a downtrend and a big bear market, but Ether has been particularly hit super hard, and I really didn't understand what was driving that. I was like, I'm looking at the Blockfolio, the cryptocurrency market in general, and I just feel like ETH keeps getting hit worse and worse and worse relative to everything else. What's causing that? For those of you who don't have much information with regards to what could be causing it, my 2 cents and what I've gathered from people from the likes of Lewis Thomas and some of the other people on YouTube, influencers for crypto that I actually listen to, it kind of makes sense given that if you think about it, a lot of what was propping up the price of Ethereum was the fact that there was so many ICOs that were getting so much attention and so much funding, and as the bear market started to hit, their holdings in ETH, which were sort of almost a mandatory part of their ICO on the Ethereum network, those holdings started to become less and less valuable, and so now they're getting to a point where they need to be able to pay their employees, their developers, their executives, whoever it is that's a part of their effort. They need to be able to pay them. They need to be able to invest in new people, in better project management and funding and stuff. And so a lot of them that were sitting on big dregs of ETH are now having to sell off just to be able to pay salaries and get people in the door. And so that kind of makes sense, right? It's kind of like a snowball effect. When you have a bear market, not only is that going to hit ETH particularly bad because it's one of the top cryptos in the space, but also the fact that its valuation is sort of propped up on the success of all the other ICOs that are getting looked at, and that everybody's excited to check out and see what they're up to or whatever. And so I'm glad to at least have some sort of background and understanding like why ETH has been hit particularly hard. I know Lewis Thomas in one of his videos actually brought up the fact that the gains in ETH from the beginning of January till, where we're at now are still freaking ridiculous. Like it was like $3 at the beginning of January 2017, and now it's, riding around the $180 mark, and that's still a ridiculous increase. So I think that's another good way of looking at it. But I think that ETH is a very, strong thing to start looking at if you're thinking about getting in at this low part of the market. Not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice, but I think that ETH is very undervalued for, its long-standing history, relative to a lot of these other ICOs, the leadership that it has, the development team that it has, and its partnerships. I think it's worth investing in. And I saw something the other day too about how ETH had like incredibly high volume of transactions and dollars, or I guess relative dollars that were being traded back and forth. And that's great because that means people are using it. People are exchanging it and trading it, and it's not like a stale currency or anything. I've definitely heard some people that are sort of skeptical as to whether or not ETH can hold up in the long run because they think it's sort of just a means to an end to be able to, I guess I've heard arguments that like gas is something that like shouldn't theoretically exist on the Ethereum network, and like I kind of get it, but at the same time, I think if you have a currency that is sort of easily exchangeable and valuable on a network, and then that network becomes valuable, I think it's hard to say that you can, separate the value of the underlying coin that is used to be able to pay for stuff on that network and say that it's not valuable. And I think that network will continue to be valuable. So that's just my two takes on it. Otherwise, there's the Litecoin Summit was recently had, and I didn't get to attend it. I didn't even really get to see any speakers or anything. I just know that some of the people that went there, one thing that I heard about that I hadn't heard about before, and I'm kind of surprised because it seems like it's kind of a big deal, is BAKKT, BAKKT. I think it's basically, when I look up BAKKT, it's the first thing that comes is the New York Stock Exchange's owner is launching a startup exchange for Bitcoin. And further down, a different article says, BAKKT, the forthcoming regulated global ecosystem for crypto assets recently unveiled by the Intercontinental Exchange will not support margin trading for its Bitcoin contract, according to blah, blah, blah. So it looks like it's basically, we had been waiting for the Chicago, the CBOE to accept an ETF for Bitcoin, and it got delayed in August. Everyone thought that, I don't know why everyone thought that it was going to be like that they were going to come in August, like when it's not unnormal or abnormal for the SEC or whoever it is that's reviewing this to push back the deadline and say, oh, we need another month or 2 months or whatever. I don't know why everyone thought that they were just going to get a direct go ahead and be like, yeah, you're good to go, Bitcoin. But yeah, they got pushed back, and I think that was even kind of affecting the market a little negatively for a bit. But this BAKKT thing, I'm going to be doing a little bit more research, and I'll try and come with a video sometime in the future where I can talk about it and any other really pertinent, important things to the crypto space that I think are worth mentioning. I think the last thing that I would bring up is just that for the longest time, I really, really disliked Bitcoin Cash. And I don't know if I've actually fully sort of shed that distrust or dislike. The main reason being that, my understanding is Bitcoin, BTC, is the longest chain in existence, that it hasn't been hacked, that it hasn't been compromised, and that it's the most secure, it has the most miners, it has the largest market share, that it is the dominant, right? It is the legacy that Satoshi Nakamoto left on. And I hated the fact that you have a guy like Roger Ver who has had a lot of antics that are less than desirable as far as how he's handled himself in certain interviews. And there's just this crazy community on Reddit about how BCH is the one and true king and all, and it's like, I just never really understood it. And I approached some people in a Discord chat that that relates to cryptocurrencies, and I knew that a lot of them had already prefaced that they are really a lot more of a fan of Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin, and that they think that it's a lot more of an actual conceptually more in line with what Satoshi Nakamoto kind of put in place. The main thing that I took away from that, because I actually approached those people and was like, look guys, like I really don't understand why people are trying to make the case like Bitcoin Cash is like the original or is the true Bitcoin. Like I just didn't understand it, because I was like, they hard forked, like they are not the original. There's no doubt about that, right? And they go back to the fact that they really believe that Bitcoin is designed to be a peer-to-peer exchange, similar to cash, and they believe that they want to scale on chain, and they don't want layer 2 solutions like the Lightning Network, which for those of you who don't know about the Lightning Network, it's basically a second layer protocol on top of the Bitcoin network to be able to sort of, the way that I had a buddy put it to me that I thought was really helpful and enlightening, and it might actually not actually be one for one how it is, but I think if you think about it in this way, it'll at least get you kind of there, right? Lightning Network is kind of like you settle a bunch of transactions. Theoretically, you basically open up a payment channel with somebody else. Say I want to pay this guy, 0.5 Bitcoin for a car or something, right? Say that I make that transaction, I open up a payment channel, and I want to send it to him. Well, there's this window of time where before the next confirmation hits, or whenever that transaction gets settled and put onto the chain, that I can change the amount, right? Like I can be like, I don't really know if I like want this amount, like I can maybe take it back or something. But overall, basically what happens is that if say I give this person 0.5 Bitcoin, and then he gives me 0.3 Bitcoin for something else, and then I give him 0.5 Bitcoin for something else, then it would basically take the net of those transactions and then settle it on the chain. And using cryptographic signatures and hashes, as long as everybody is playing fairly, then only the net amount will be transferred from one person to the other person. And so it's really, you're having exchanges that are taking place off of the blockchain, but then they're ultimately being settled on the chain. And so that's something that I think, whenever I was talking to people in this Discord that I was in, they ultimately felt like that's not in line with really what Satoshi Nakamoto laid out in his white paper. And I definitely understand that. That being said, I think trying to argue, they, at the end of the day, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, okay? I'm probably going to have a BCH crowd of people hate me after this. At the end of the day, BTC, Bitcoin, is the longest blockchain. It's the longest historical chain that has been unhacked, right? And I know you've taken a hard fork off, and that you feel everybody that is a Bitcoin Cash supporter truly believes that it's actually in line more so with what Satoshi Nakamoto's vision was. That being said, I still think that you kind of drastically changed the protocol, being that they changed the block size from 1 megabyte, which means that you can have a shit ton of computers that are mining and that are sending information to be able to increase the hash rate. Now you have 32 megabyte blocks, which means that it's harder for as many computers to take place, because it's harder for them to send that larger amount of information into the blockchain. And so there's a natural sort of centralization that happens because of that. And also it just is a sacrifice on security because I don't know. I guess just there's a number of reasons why I don't like Bitcoin Cash, and on top of just the pure promotional and media factor of Roger Ver, that I feel like he just misleads people, and I feel like the whole Bitcoin.com thing is kind of, it still makes me mad, and he misleads people that don't really know a whole lot about it, and that, you know, probably people that know nothing about cryptocurrencies or whatever just go to Bitcoin.com because they think that that's actually where they get Bitcoin or something. And that's, I don't know. I don't like the fact that I feel like there's a misleading happening, and then it's like you're trying to convert people from level one instead of actually like letting them know what the true history of the coins are, whatnot. So that's just my take. But that being said, just doing the research and asking people and trying to really get at what the true driving differences are between the two, I actually understand now. I mean, it's not, the community is not as much they're not trying to mislead people. They truly do believe that conceptually, Bitcoin Cash is more in line with the vision of being a peer-to-peer exchange, similar to Cash, in that on-chain scaling, and accomplishing that through greater block sizes and other means is preferable, as opposed to using things like Lightning Network, which arguably aren't even really blockchain. And like, I totally understand that. Like, Lightning Network seems like it'll definitely increase the ability for people to do transactions a lot faster and a lot cheaper. Listening to Andreas Antonopoulos, I mean, he's very convincing as far as the applications that it could be used for. But at the end of the day, like, it kind of doesn't really sound like blockchain. Like, it kind of sounds like it's just like a buffer of transactions that happened before blockchain, and it just gets net settled. So for the first time, I've actually understand both sides, and that's, you know, that's just been something that I wanted to share. I also just kind of wanted to do a video because it's been so long, and I don't want to completely lose my cred. And I mean, I probably already lost it. I never had any cred, but at the end of the day, I'm still inspired. I still like following the space, and I'm still invested. I'm not overly invested, but I'm definitely not scrimping. I haven't sold anything. I'm ready for the next bull run. And so all that to say, I'm glad that I'm back. I got a subscriber today. That was another impetus, and even a final impetus is just that every episode on the podcast that I do with my buddies, they always kind of joke with me how I have my channel, but I don't post any content. And so now I'm like, well, no, I should probably just post some content. You know, it's not that hard. I can put it together. And so I'm glad to be back. If you like this video, if you like anything that I'm saying, if you think anything that I said was valuable, go ahead and smash that like, smash the subscribe. And if you have anything in particular that you would like for me to talk about, I'd love to have kind of a research base to come at some other videos with. I've been kind of thinking about how I want to market my channel. What I really would like to sort of become or be or provide. You know, I know this is already kind of like more geared towards people who are already into the crypto space, but I think just kind of rehashing the true conceptual and logistical nature of how blockchain works, about why blockchain and Bitcoin are important, about the different markets that are set to be disrupted by this phenomenon, by this, it's literally like a revolution, and I think that's why everyone's so stoked about it and so excited about it, is because they literally get to be a part of this sort of revolution it's not underground, and it's not like it's some sort of bloody battle that's being had. It's truly like sticking it to the man with banks and with all the other intermediaries that kind of suck us dry, and taking a truly incredible invention and utilizing it for the good of the world, ideally. So I would like to be able to kind of hone more of my content back to that, but let me know what you'd like to hear. If there's anything in particular, I'd love to address it. I guess I'll go ahead and leave it there. HODL on. I truly think that this bear market is going to be reaching its bottom pretty soon, and that the next bull run is going to be incredible. And I'm super excited. I'm glad to be back. And adios, crypto world.